everyone!
Welcome to
Better English!
You are in a conversation. Someone asks you a simple question in English. You know the answer. But before you speak, your brain does something strange. It thinks of the answer in your language first. Then it translates it into English. Then you say it. And by that time, the moment is already gone.
If that sounds familiar, this video is for you. By the end of it, you will know exactly how to stop translating in your head and start thinking in English naturally.
We use 99 sentences to get you there. These are not random phrases. They are the exact sentences that make your brain switch languages. Here is the first thing you need to know. Translating slows you down. Thinking in English sets you free. Translating slows you down. Thinking in English sets you free.
We break this down step by step. Plain English only. No grammar textbooks. Just the sentences that actually work. Let us get into it.
Think about the last time you tried to speak English in a real situation. Maybe you were ordering food. Maybe someone asked for directions. Your brain found the answer, but it took a few seconds too long. That delay is not a vocabulary problem. That delay is a translation problem.
I know exactly what you mean. I remember watching a friend at a job interview. Her English was actually very good, but she kept pausing mid-sentence. The interviewer thought she was nervous. She was not nervous. She was translating, and it cost her.
Here is what is actually happening inside your brain when you translate. You think of the idea in your native language. Then your brain searches for the English version of it. Then it checks if the grammar is right. Then it speaks. That is 4 steps every single time you open your mouth.
4 steps sounds exhausting. And it is. No wonder fluent English speakers seem relaxed. They are not doing 4 steps. They are doing 1. The thought and the English word arrive at the same time.
That is what thinking in English actually means. It does not mean you forget your first language. It means you build a second track in your brain, a direct line from thought to English. No translation stop in the middle. Here is the key concept. Fluency is not about knowing more words. It is about removing the translation step. One more time. Fluency is not about knowing more words. It is about removing the translation step.
And that is actually good news, because it means you do not need a bigger vocabulary to sound more fluent. You need a different habit, and habits can be trained. That is exactly what the 99 sentences are going to do for you. Before we go on, if this is already making English click for you in a new way, hit subscribe. We put out new videos every week, and I do not want you to miss them.
She is right. Okay, so how does the translation habit start in the first place? Most people learned English in school. The teacher said a word in English. You wrote the translation next to it in your notebook. That method works for tests. It builds the wrong habit for speaking. Your brain learned to link every English word to a word in your own language.
So when you hear the word apple, you do not picture a red fruit. You picture the word for apple in your language, and then you picture the fruit. There is always a middleman. And in a real conversation, that middleman is too slow. The goal of this whole video is to fire that middleman. That is what thinking in English really means.
So let us talk about the 99 sentences. You might be thinking, why 99? Why not 100? Why not 200? The number is not magic. What is special is what these sentences have in common.
I was curious about this too. When I first heard the idea, I thought it sounded too simple. 99 sentences and you start thinking in English? That sounds like a shortcut. But then I understood what the sentences actually do, and it changed my mind completely.
Every one of these sentences does one of 3 things. It describes something you see or feel right now. It expresses what you think or want, or it keeps a conversation going when you are not sure what to say next. These are the building blocks of almost every real conversation in English.
Think about the last conversation you had in any language, your own. How many completely new, never-before-used sentences did you actually say? Probably very few. Most conversation is built from the same patterns, repeated in different situations. That is actually very good news for language learners.
Here is the key concept for this part. You do not need to know how to say everything. You need to say a few things so automatically that your brain has space to think. Say that with me in your head. You do not need to say everything. You need to say a few things automatically so your brain has space to think.
That is such an important idea, because when you are spending mental energy on how to say, "Excuse me, could you repeat that?" you are not listening to the answer. But if "could you repeat that" comes out automatically, zero effort, your whole brain is free to focus on the actual conversation.
Exactly. And that is what fluent speakers do. It is not that they know more vocabulary than you, it is that certain phrases cost them almost no mental energy. Those phrases are automatic. The brain saves its power for the real thinking, and the 99 sentences we are going to look at are designed to become those automatic phrases for you.
There is also a misconception I want to clear up here, because I hear this a lot. People think that to think in English, you need to live in an English-speaking country, and a lot of people hold back because of that. But here is the truth. The switch from translating to thinking happens in your mind first, not in your location. You can build this habit anywhere, with the right practice.
Right, that makes a lot of sense, actually. The environment helps, but it is not the cause. The cause is repetition of the right sentences until they become automatic. Location just gives you more chances to repeat them. We are going to give you those chances right here.
And we are going to do it in 3 groups. Everyday situations first, then opinions and feelings, then conversations, keeping them going even when things get difficult. Each group builds on the last. By the end, you will have all 99 sentences working together.
Group 1. Everyday situations. These are the sentences you need the moment you walk out your door, open an app, make a phone call, or sit down with another person. They are simple, they are short, and they are the ones most learners never make automatic, because they think they are too easy to practice.
I made that mistake for years. I could write a formal email in English. I could pass an exam. But if someone said, "How is it going?" my brain would freeze. I knew what it meant. I just had no automatic answer ready. The gap between knowing and saying is exactly what these sentences close.
Let us go through the first set. These are sentences for greetings and small talk. When someone asks how you are, do not search for a perfect answer. Use one of these without thinking. Pretty good, thanks. How about you? Not bad at all, keeping busy. Honestly, I am a bit tired today, but I am here. These sentences are not just polite. They buy you a second to settle into the conversation.
And notice something about those sentences. They all do 2 things at once. They answer the question, and they pass the conversation back to the other person. That is a conversation skill, not just a language skill. When your answer ends with, "How about you?" the other person talks next. And while they talk, your brain relaxes and catches up.
Next set. Sentences for making requests. Learners often go too direct because they do not have the softer versions ready. Can you say that again? Feels blunt. Sorry. Could you say that one more time? Feels natural. The difference is not grammar. The difference is having the softer version so automatic that it comes out before you think. Here is the key concept. Polite English is not about knowing more grammar. It is about having the gentle version ready before you need it. One more time. Polite English is not about grammar. It is about having the gentle version ready in advance.
Ask yourself this: how many times have you let a moment pass because the right phrase did not come fast enough? Someone said something you did not hear clearly. You wanted to ask them to repeat it, but the sentence did not come in time, so you just nodded and hoped for the best. That happens to everyone. The 99 sentences are here to make sure it stops happening to you.
Here are a few more for everyday situations. For buying something, do you have this in a different size? For arriving somewhere new, I am looking for the main entrance. Am I going the right way? For any situation where you are confused, sorry, I want to make sure I understood correctly. And the most useful sentence of all, in any situation, could you give me just 1 second? That one sentence buys you time in every conversation on the planet.
That last one is gold. Could you give me just 1 second? It is polite, it is natural, and it gives your brain exactly what it needs. a moment to breathe and form the next thought without pressure. I actually recommend saying it out loud right now before moving on. Say it once. Could you give me just 1 second? That tiny bit of practice plants it in the right place in your memory.
Group 2. Expressing opinions, feelings, and reactions. This is the area where most intermediate learners hit a wall. They can describe facts fine. The weather is cold. The meeting is at 3. But the moment someone asks what they think or how they feel, the translation slows everything down. Feelings are personal. Personal thoughts come in your native language first. That is the hardest translation to skip.
This is so true. I remember a moment in a meeting where someone asked me directly, "What do you think about this plan?" I had a clear opinion. I just could not find the English for it fast enough. So I said, "I think it is fine." But what I meant was much more than that. I left that room frustrated. Not because of my English, but because my English did not show who I actually was.
These sentences are designed to fix exactly that. Let us start with opinion starters. These are phrases that give your brain a running start. Honestly, I think, from my point of view, if I am being real about it, I might be wrong, but all of these do the same job. They buy you 1 second of speaking time before the actual opinion arrives. And that 1 second is often all your brain needs.
Think about it this way. When you say, "honestly, I think," you are already speaking. You are already in English. Your brain is already on the right track. The rest of the sentence follows more naturally because you have momentum. Starting is always the hardest part. These openers take the hardest part away.
Now, reactions. English conversations move fast. Someone tells you something surprising and they expect a quick reaction. If you pause too long, the moment passes and the conversation feels awkward. These reaction sentences keep everything smooth. Wait, seriously? That is actually really interesting. I had no idea. That makes so much sense. Oh, wow. I never thought about it that way. Short. Natural. And they all do one important thing. They show the other person you are present and engaged.
And when you are present and engaged, they keep talking, which again gives you more time. The more automatic these reactions become, the more the conversation flows in your favor without you even trying. Does that sound familiar? That feeling where a conversation in your own language just flows and a conversation in English feels like swimming upstream? These sentences are how you change the current.
Here is the key concept for this part. In English conversation, your reaction is as important as your answer. And reactions can be learned in advance. Think about that. Your reaction is as important as your answer, and reactions can be learned in advance. That is the insight most language courses completely miss.
Let us also do feelings, because expressing how you feel is one of the most vulnerable things in a second language. I am a little overwhelmed right now. I feel like I am finally getting this. That was harder than I expected. I am really proud of how that went. Honestly, I am a bit nervous. These are not complicated sentences, but they are the sentences that make people trust you and like you in English. Fluency is not just about being understood. It is about being known.
Group 3. Conversations. Keeping them going when things get difficult. And by difficult, I do not mean emotional. I mean the moments that trip every English learner up. You did not understand something. You lost track of the conversation. You want to add something, but you are not sure how. Or you made a mistake and you do not know how to recover naturally. These moments happen in every conversation. The question is, what you do when they arrive.
I used to dread these moments. When I lost track of a conversation, I would go quiet and hope someone else would speak. Or I would pretend I understood and then be completely lost for the next 5 minutes. Neither of those feels good. And neither of them is necessary if you have the right sentences ready.
First, what to say when you did not understand. Most learners say, "I do not understand." That is fine, but it ends the exchange and puts pressure on the other person. These alternatives keep the conversation moving. Sorry, could you put that a different way? I want to make sure I am following. Can you say more about that? That part was a bit fast for me. Could we slow down there? All of these are natural. All of them are kind to the other person. And all of them give you exactly the information you need without embarrassment.
And here is something important about those sentences. They do not say, I do not speak English well. They say, I want to understand you well. That is a completely different message. One sounds like a limitation, the other sounds like respect. The right sentences change how people see you, even in the moments when you are struggling.
Second, what to say when you lose track mid-sentence. This happens to everyone, even in their native language. Where was I? Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. Let me start that again. I am trying to find the right word. Bear with me. These are completely normal. Native speakers say them every day. The problem is learners think losing track is a sign of weakness. It is not. Recovering smoothly is a sign of fluency.
The key concept here is something I want you to really take in. Making a mistake in English is not the problem. Not knowing how to recover from it is. Say that in your head. Making a mistake is not the problem. Not knowing how to recover from it is, because recovery is a skill. And it is a skill you can practice right now.
Here is the recovery sentence that works in almost every situation. Let me rephrase that. 3 words. You said something wrong or unclear. Instead of stopping, apologizing, and going red, you just say, let me rephrase that, and say it again a different way. The conversation keeps going. Your confidence stays intact, and the other person actually respects you more because you corrected yourself calmly instead of panicking.
And the third set in this group, sentences for adding to a conversation naturally. I was actually thinking the same thing. Can I add something to that? That reminds me of something. Just to build on what you said, these are the sentences that move you from someone who answers questions to someone who participates. There is a huge difference between those two things. Answering questions is passive. Participating is being part of the conversation. That is where real fluency lives.
Now let us talk about something most people skip completely. How to practice alone. Because you are not always going to have a conversation partner. You are not always going to be in an English environment. Most of your practice time is going to be by yourself. And that time is actually where the thinking switch happens, if you use it right.
This was a game changer for me personally. I spent years waiting for the right moment to practice English, waiting for a trip, waiting for a class, waiting for someone to practice with. And then I found out that some of the most effective English practice happens in your own head, with no one else in the room.
This is called the inner voice method. Here is how it works. You have a voice inside your head that narrates your life. Most people have it in their native language all day long. You think about what to have for lunch in your language. You replay a conversation from earlier in your language. The inner voice method is simply this. Start switching that voice to English for short periods every day. Here is the key concept. The fastest way to think in English is to make your inner voice speak English, even when no one is listening. One more time. The fastest way to think in English is to make your inner voice speak English, even when you are completely alone.
That feels strange at first, I will not lie. The first time I tried to narrate what I was doing in English in my own head, it felt awkward and slow. I was making dinner and trying to think, I am chopping the onions now. This is making my eyes water. I should have used a sharper knife. It felt ridiculous. But after a week, it felt normal. After 2 weeks, it felt natural. After a month, I noticed I was reaching for English words first, without even trying.
That is exactly how the habit forms. Awkward first, normal second, automatic third. And you do not need hours. 5 minutes a day of inner voice practice builds the habit faster than 1 hour a week of formal study. The reason is frequency. Your brain strengthens the pathways it uses most often. 5 minutes every day means 7 uses per week. 1 hour once a week is 1 use. Frequency beats duration every single time.
And here is how to use the 99 sentences inside the inner voice method. Pick 5 sentences from any group we covered today. Keep them in your head. Then, during the day, find real moments to use them in your inner voice. You walk into a room and you do not know anyone. Your inner voice says, "Honestly, I'm a bit nervous." You finish a task that was hard. Your inner voice says, "I am really proud of how that went." You hear something surprising on the news. Your inner voice says, "I had no idea."
Each time you do that, you are doing two things at once. You are practicing the sentence so it becomes automatic. And you are practicing thinking in English instead of translating. Every single repetition rewires a tiny part of your brain. Over days and weeks, those tiny rewirings add up to a completely different experience when you open your mouth in a real conversation. The translation step gets shorter, then shorter again. Then, one day, it is just gone.
There is one more technique I want to share here, and it works especially well for learners who feel confident reading English but freeze when speaking. It is called slow conversation practice. You find a topic, any topic. You give yourself permission to speak slowly, not rushed, not trying to sound fluent, just slow and clear. You use the sentences from today. You make mistakes. You recover with, "Let me rephrase that." You use, "Could you give me just 1 second?" Even talking to yourself. The goal is not to perform. The goal is to make the sentences feel like yours.
Let us take a moment and look at what you have actually learned today. You now know why translating slows you down and what the brain is actually doing in those 4 steps. You know what the 99 sentences are and why they work. You have the first group, everyday situations, including how to buy time, make polite requests, and keep small talk natural.
You also have the second group, opinions, feelings, and reactions, including the openers that give your brain a running start and the reaction sentences that show you are fully present. And you have the third group, recovery sentences and conversation builders, the ones that turn a mistake into a smooth moment instead of an awkward stop.
And you have the inner voice method. 5 minutes a day. Your own thoughts, in English. No teacher needed. No conversation partner needed. Just you and the habit you are building right now.
If something clicked for you in this video, type "I got it" in the comments. I read every single one. And here is your challenge for today. Pick 3 sentences from what we covered. Just 3. Say them out loud right now. Then use them in your inner voice at least once before you go to sleep tonight. That is it. 3 sentences, 1 day. Small step. Real change.
If you made it here, you now understand something most people using language apps every day still do not. Fluency is not about more vocabulary. It is about fewer translation steps. Subscribe so we can keep building on that together. Every video we make is one more piece of the puzzle.
And if you want to go further, our next video is about what to do when you understand everything but still cannot find the words in time. It will help you with exactly those moments in a real conversation where your brain goes blank. You are going to want to see that one. See you there.
Your English journey does not end here. Watch more videos and keep practicing.